Hey, fight fans, what's up? This is Ted Check. I'm here in the padded cell, or the Dungeon of Doom, or the Grow Room, whatever you prefer. I am here, and as you can see by the title of this live broadcast, the dust, I guess, has kind of settled. The shock has dissipated a little bit as far as the merger between the UFC and the WWE. I can't believe I'm even saying that right now. I just never imagined that this would happen. I mean, they were not necessarily ever competitors per se, but I just never imagined that they'd be bedfellows. It's just, are we in bizarro world right now? I don't know. We must be. But apparently what happened is, okay, if you remember, I'm going back a few years, but the Fertitta brothers, when the Fertitta brothers owned the UFC, they sold to a company called WME-IMG, which is this massive company that represents actors and other entertainers and athletes and, all sorts of people like that. Okay. So that was WME-IMG. Then they became Endeavor. And so Endeavor, the parent company of the UFC, bought or is buying WWE. So Ari Emanuel is the guy that's over everything. And then you still got Dana White, so he's Endeavor. And then you still got Dana White, who's going to run the UFC. And you still have a guy by the last name of Khan. He's going to run WWE, but Vince McMahon is somehow somewhere in the picture as well. Everybody thought the guy was gone for good. I mean, he's older than dirt. He's 77 years old. And also he's facing sexual assault charges, but he comes back into the picture with this pencil thin mustache, like just weird. Hey, what's up, man? This is a new name for you, Call of Delhi. I never, I forget the first name you went by, dude. Nick Khan. Oh, Nick Khan. Yeah. Not to be confused with Tony Khan from AEW. Yeah, I'm doing a Love Stop. That's right. Love Stop, baby, Love Stop. Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great too, man. Yeah. So, and yeah, I'm here to get your thoughts as well, my man. I'm here to get everyone's thoughts. Anyone who stops by and catches this stream, I want to know your thoughts on it. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? I mean, my first reaction was it's bad, or I don't know. I can't really decide, but I just don't see how it's. I guess they're going to be controlled separately, but then there's going to be crossover in terms of. I think there's going to be crossover, and there's going to be cross promotional activity going on. So you're going to have WWE events that will run ads on UFC events, or WWE happenings that they're going to be advertised on the UFC, and vice versa, right? You're probably going to see UFC fighters getting involved in, especially Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor. Hasn't he already been in a WrestleMania? But I mean, guys like Conor McGregor, who are just very charismatic and bombastic. They'll fit right in with the WWE. So they'll do like special appearances and stuff like that. And, they'll do those one-offs where they'll, punch somebody out or whatever. They'll do that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's going to be, very many, if any, WWE guys who are going to cross over and actually, there's my cat. Brady, say hi, Brady. See, he hates being held. He's a typical cat. Go over there. Yeah, so I don't think you're going to see many WWE guys actually crossing over and fighting in the UFC. But the first thing I remember, a friend of mine texted me when it happened, and I hadn't heard, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "Well, geez, I guess the WWE can show the UFC how to fix fights." That was my take on it initially. Yeah, so Love Stop saying bad for WWE fighter pay and bad for WWE wrestlers to show up. Yeah, it would be bad because the bottom line is it's going to taint the product of the UFC. The UFC is a combat sport. It's a legitimate combat sport. The WWE is, to use Vince McMahon's term, sports entertainment. Or you could, I don't even like that term. You could just say it's choreographed. Um, some people have called it like it's almost like you're a stunt man. You're doing stunts. It's choreographed stunts. One after the next after the next. High spots as they call them. So if you have too much creep, if you have too much of that of the WWE getting involved in the UFC, wrapping its tentacles around the UFC. If you have too much of that, that's going to be a problem because then you're going to, it's guilt by association. You're going to associate, people are going to associate WWE with the UFC, and they're going to, wait a minute, this thing's fake. So is the UFC fake now? Are we to assume that the UFC is fake? I don't think they want that because that's going to turn people off. People come to the UFC to see real fights. As real as it gets. Remember that phrase? As real as it gets. That's what they should be preserving at all costs. They should be preserving. They should be living by that phrase to this day. But yeah, Love Stop to your point, they're bad for WWE pay. Well, I mean, yeah, you wonder because when Endeavor or WME-IMG, when they took over the UFC, I think some people thought, well, it's this huge company that's paying $4 billion for the UFC. Fighter pay is going to go up, right? No, it didn't. It didn't go up. So, we're going to see when you're merging two companies, you're gonna find I guess what they call redundancies, and so you're going to be looking for ways to trim the fat. Probably mainly through layoffs, and then also looking to consolidate. Like, oh, we don't need two advertising arms. We just need one. We just one group to advertise, to be in charge of advertising for both. Things like that. So I don't think, I don't think it's going to be, nobody's salary is going to go up based on this this merger. Yeah. So I see that we got the UFC fighters that some of them, not a lot of them, but some of them may get involved in WWE stuff. But the thing that I took exception to, I was reading an article. I can't remember who wrote it. It was an ESPN article. ESPN. Okay, so yeah, go figure. They talk about the UFC and the WWE as combat sports companies. The WWE, let me make this perfectly clear. The WWE is not a combat sports company. It's a sports entertainment company, or it's a choreographed wrestling company, you could call it, but it is not in any way, shape, matter, or form a combat sports. You could say it's a simulated combat sports company, but it's not a combat sports company. And for ESPN, I can't believe who is the editor who allowed that to go to run online, because that's just ridiculous. That you would call it a combat sports company. And then they're talking about, there's another ESPN article that was talking about, well, is the new company, and apparently it's being called TKO. I don't know, whatever. Okay. But apparently this new company, the question is, will they get into boxing? Because Dana White's talked about it. He's kind of batted around the idea. So that what ESPN is saying is, oh, you've got MMA, and you've got professional wrestling, and then you've got boxing. Those are the big three of combat sports. No, you're wrong. They aren't the big three. I would kickboxing. Okay, you've got MMA, boxing, and kickboxing. Those are the big three combat sports. You could maybe throw in jujitsu, some type of submission, grappling, whatever you want to call it. That's done on the world stage. There are world championships for that every year. So you could argue that point is a kick. I mean, definitely when K1 was a huge deal. When you had Ernesto Host and Andy Hoog and all these other guys. Or was it Andy Hug? I never knew how to pronounce the guy's name. He was amazing, but I never knew how to pronounce his last name. Was it Hoog or Hug? But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. All those guys. When they were at their prime, K1 kickboxing was really big. Was a really big draw. And now you could argue that point, but you can't throw professional wrestling in there as a big three combat sport. MMA, pro wrestling, and boxing. It just doesn't work. Sorry. And you don't even have to be a purist to say that. So this we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I guess another point that was made in one of the articles I read was that, well, the UFC can learn a bit from the WWE as far as the production quality of their live broadcasts. There was a time when the UFC was still owned by Zuffa, the Fertitta brothers, that they did do a little bit more, like with the entrances, there was like a I don't know what you call it. There was like an opening with lights, flashing lights and everything that the fighters would walk out to. And sometimes they would, I don't know, would they do? I'm going back some years, but there might have even been like fireworks and stuff like that. So they did do a bit of that. And then they pulled back on that. And they said, no, you know what? We're just going to have the fighters walk out and we'll have some entrance music, but that'll be about it. So they kind of stripped it down. So the thinking is that the UFC could learn a bit and start to borrow some of those techniques from the WWE, because, well, they just had WrestleMania and, oh my God, there was all this pomp and circumstance, all these lights and flashing, ding, 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 all these brightly colored things. And oh my God, see, I like pro wrestling. I do like pro wrestling, but I don't need all that. I don't need all the bells and whistles. Just give me a ring, and it doesn't even have to be. I don't really like the WWE. I like some of the smaller promotions, and I like looking back at stuff that happened, back in the 80s and 90s. And anyway, so that's one of the points, is that the UFC could borrow from the WWE and maybe improve their production a little bit. So that's something that was said. But it just remains to be seen, how this is all going to iron out, and if it's going to work. It may just be determined that it's not working, and we could end up seeing a schism. We could end up seeing a split, but I'm kind of, looking way down the line there, as far as that is concerned. Oh, the other thing, another point I wanted to make. Okay, so if you watch the WWE, and they've been doing this for years and years and years, is that they, when you watch the camera work for the WWE, they never show the actual impact of something. So when a guy, let's say he gets body slammed or whatever, they show it from one angle, and then they quickly cut to another angle when the impact happens. They never actually show the impact of like a punch. You'll see the punch coming this way, and then they'll flip to the other angle. Like they keep doing that. They're always doing that, and it's so annoying. It really is annoying. For some reason, they think that's a good thing. I just really hope that the UFC does not. I hope the UFC does not adopt that in any way, because the UFC is great. They have like at least, I think they have like 4 guys with cameras, on these pedestals, and they're aiming down onto the action, right? And then they've got another camera on a crane. I think it's like a 5 or 6 camera setup, right? That's great. That's great. Keep that, because they can always get the best angle for the action, and they can show it to you at many angles. Like when the commentators say, "Oh, let's look at it from a different angle," or "Let's look at it again," or whatever. They can do all that stuff. But I hate the WWE's the way that they work their cameras, where they're switching the camera on impact, because it's fake, and they don't want to show, like, a punch coming and it actually misses the guy. They want to show it from a different angle. So you see the punch and then you just see the guy falling back. Oh, okay. So the punch hit him. Damn Sausage says, get WWE writers to beef up the press conferences. Bring back the cocaine and steroids to pro wrestling. I don't know. Did it leave? Did it ever really leave? Although, you know what? Maybe it has, because either Brock Lesnar is old, which he is, but I think he's off the juice, because he kind of looks more normal. Do you remember when he first got into the UFC, Brock Lesnar? So he was in the WWE, right? And the guy was like, what, 6'3", nearly 300 pounds, solid muscle, right? Still had abs and everything. And then he gets to the UFC, and he's got a cut to 265. And he was going to be tested. So he knew he had to get off the juice, and he did. But then there was, what was it, UFC 200, when he fought Mark Hunt, not Mike Hunt, Mark Hunt. He got busted for steroids, right? Isn't that right? Do I have that right? So I think Brock Lesnar's off the juice, and maybe they have been a little more diligent. The WWE I'm talking about. I know they don't have. I don't believe they have USADA in there, randomly testing professional wrestlers, just showing up at the crack of dawn or the crack of 3 or 4 or whatever. I know they don't. They're not doing that, but maybe they have cracked down a little bit on as far as wrestlers doing all the PEDs and stuff like that. Hey, what's up? MMA holes. Yes, I am back. Just a little bit here and there, whenever the spirit moves me. Still got the padded cell or the grow room. You can't see it. It's right off camera. But anyway, yeah. So maybe if you can bring back the coke and the steroids to pro wrestling, that would make it a lot more interesting. It's to me, it's kind of gotten a very homogenized. They cut out the blood. You can't gig anymore. You can't do blood in the WWE anymore unless it's done hard way. But then if you go hard way, they get pissed off at you for that. So it's really softened. It's the pussification of the WWE that's been going on for years now, making it more palatable to little kids, and it's like, that's not what pro wrestling, used to be. Go watch some ECW. Go watch some ECW from the mid 90s. It was, for those who don't know, was held in this little bingo hall in Philadelphia. Probably the max capacity was probably about 1,500 people in there. No AC. So it got really, really hot and sweaty. And, it was mainly dudes. And, okay, yeah, it might have been a little bit of a sausage fest or whatever, but it was not meant for kids, okay? There was a lot of blood, a lot of weapons, a lot of hard-hitting action. They were actually hitting each other. Yeah, that's the pro wrestling that I like. But damn Savage, damn Sausage, getting back to your point about get the WWE writers to beef up the press conferences. Yeah, so the WWE has a team of Hollywood writers, and they script everything that is said during the WWE broadcast, whether it's SmackDown or Raw. They script it all, and then the WWE wrestlers. See, I say wrestlers. I don't say superstars. That's another stupid thing they do. Like, are they gonna come up with a different name? They're not gonna call them UFC fighters anymore. They're gonna call them something else. Please don't. Please no. God no. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, so the UFC, so the WWE has all these writers, which I was against from the beginning anyway, because I'm from the old school of like, listen to the words of Roddy Piper. He never used a script. The guy never knew what he was going to say anyway, and that was the beauty of it. You know, the spontaneity. He never really knew what he was going to say. He might have had somewhat of an idea, but he never had anything really written down, a script that he would follow. And he certainly, if he did write something down, he wrote it down. He wasn't following somebody else, some snot-nosed punk, from Hollywood. He wasn't following somebody else's script or whatever. He rejected that. So I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that, but yeah, they've got all these script writers. So Damn Sausage is saying, get those WWE script writers to maybe write some things for the UFC fighters, so that when they have a press conference, it's more exciting. Because let's face it, not everybody can talk like Conor McGregor can. You know, he's kind of a one of a kind when it comes to shit talking and stuff like that. I mean, there's other guys that do well at it, but I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. I got some issue with that too. I don't think they should get their grubby hands on the UFC fighters in terms of what they say. That because it's just going to look. They're not actors, okay? The guys, the men and women in the WWE are actors, okay? And so they know how, I mean, some of them go on to be in movies and stuff like, and TV shows and stuff like that. So they know how to memorize lines, and they know how to make it sound somewhat real or whatever, somewhat compelling. The UFC fighters, that's not their bag. You know what I'm saying? That's not their bailiwick. So it's just going to look like crap if they try to do it. No, I haven't talked with Eddie in a long time. Eddie Vallejo, my old partner for the Evil and Intoxicated podcast. Damn Sausage. Aljo is a good, yeah, Aljo. It was Aljamain Sterling, great actor. Absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with you. That was a robbery. That was the only time. So he won the title from Petr Yan on a disqualification. That was the only time, I believe, in UFC history that has ever happened. Now Petr Yan, okay, yeah, he gave Aljo, who was a downed opponent at the time, I believe, he gave him a knee. Okay, fine. But I think it was dog shit. It was horse shit that Aljo, claimed that he couldn't continue. Come on. That was all the soccer players were, bravo. Okay, we know, soccer players and their flops. So that guy's been running around with a title that is not his. And I've been praying for the day that somebody takes it away from him. Petr Yan tried and wasn't successful. Apparently, the judges saw it and gave it to Aljo. So the old saying is never leave it in the hands of the judges. So you're going to have to finish this guy. Somebody's going to have to finish him. Submission or knockout. Somebody's going to have to finish Aljo and take that title from him that was never his to begin with. And he's just running around with it. He's a paper champion. So great point there, Damn Sausage. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to think about with this whole WWE, UFC merger. Will they get into boxing? Because, Dana White was a boxercise instructor. He was in Boston. Before he got the idea to buy the UFC and with the Fertitta brothers' money, so he's always got a soft spot in his heart for boxing, I think he always wanted to, you know, he always wanted to get involved and promote boxing. And there's a lot of money to be made in boxing, a lot of money to be made in it if you're promoting the big ass fights. So, yes, and I still have the trademark world's longest eyebrows. That's a sign of virility. In some cultures it's the three nipples. In my culture, it's the long eyebrows. If you have these, then you are a very, very virile man. Yeah. So I don't know what the hell I was saying because I got distracted by my own eyebrows. But chicks love them. Yeah, chicks dig them. But yeah, so that's essentially what I wanted to talk about here. Yeah, just like I said before, it remains to be seen how this is all going to shake out, positive or negative. But frankly, I don't see too many positives with it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't. Because I think mainly because of the guilt by association thing. I don't think that the UFC should be associating with I don't think the UFC should be associating with the WWE. Yeah, power slap. Power slap. Yeah, that was a thing that the UFC just started. So I wonder about that too. Is that going to continue? I don't even know how. Does anybody know how popular that I think they had one event so far? How popular was it? Like, was it a success? Great success, or was it not? And that's with this merger. Are they going to look at that and go, you know what? Let's scrap that. That wasn't so great. Let's scrap it, because that's like another entity out there. It's like a sub entity of the UFC. I think right now. Yeah. What's up, Kevin? Kevin from Chicago, from Chi-Town. Yes, I've been to Chicago a few times, the Windy City. Used to have family out that way, so I enjoyed being in the city. Apparently, it's not very good right now, but not very safe. So, Kevin, stay safe out there, my man. Power Slap is continuing on Rumble for season 2. Oh, okay. All right, says Damn Sauce. Oh, Rumble. Yeah. I like Rumble. There's a lot of people going to Rumble. I might even start something over there too. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if anybody is doing much with Rumble, but I was thinking about going over there. But anyway, yeah, there's Andrew Tate's over there on Rumble, and Steve, I think he's from the Nelk brothers or the Nelk twin, whatever they are. Steve will do it. Yeah, he's over on Rumble. So a lot of great content over there, and it there's a lot more that you can do with it, as far as like First Amendment stuff, as far as like speaking your mind, shall we say, little more freedom, and what's better than freedom? Nothing's better than freedom. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. Nothing's better than freedom. So there you go. That's what I wanted to get off my chest. Yeah, bounty. Get off the chest, and great talking to all of you out there. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be an occasional thing when I have time, because I've got a lot going on, but so have all of you. So I appreciate all of your time spending it with me, and yeah, I'll continue to do these on a semi-regular basis, especially when there's something big to talk about. So thanks again, and I will see you soon.